Hey, on today's episode, we have a follow-up conversation with our good friend Jon Mott from Runnersfix Coaching. Going to talk to us about his run there at the London Marathon and how he's training for the rest of the year. Come on, welcome back to the show, Jon Mott. Well, hey, I want to share with you something that I am really loving, and that is Runnersfix Coaching. If you're into running, maybe you're starting to get into running a little bit, or you've been running for a while and want to take it to the next level, can I suggest going to runnersfixcoaching.com. It's led by Jon Mott, who's been on our show before, but this is going to be a way for you to get some more detailed running and accountability to help you achieve those goals. Through things like constant feedback, a structured schedule, and expert knowledge, Jon Mott and his team are going to help you take the next level in your running game. So go to runnersfixcoaching.com. Again, that's runnersfixcoaching.com to check it out today. All right, and we're back. Jon, thanks for being on the show again. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's great to be here again. I really had a blast the first time doing this, so
thanks,
I've
man.
been really looking forward to this.
Yeah, I've been loving it, dude. I loved our last conversation. I loved it so much we had it twice. We had to re-record it. But yeah, dude, it's been the podcast side of things. It's been cool because it's just to hear cool stories. I had a lot of people reach out to me. I think you probably did too, like about the show and the conversation we had. Because I know lately, like we talked about this. I've been getting into running. I have a lot of friends who've been into running for a while, or even people out of state, dude. That podcast, that episode reached a lot of states. So
yeah, I honestly wasn't sure how well it was going to turn out. And the feedback I got from it was a way more than I thought it would be, and
it's awesome.
That's part of why I wanted to do this again, and also to share my experience with how things have been going.
Well, let's get into that, because when we did the last show, so much of it was around like preparing for the London Marathon, getting like you were like doing what 160. I think at that time when we did it, you were like 150-mile weeks. So to say you were probably tired is probably a reality, right?
I was definitely feeling the fatigue. That week I had hit 150 and I was increasing up to 160 the next week before tapering down. So we were about 5 weeks out from London at that point.
Yeah. So. Well, dude, so you did London. Talk to us a bit about it. I mean, there's so much I'm sure to cover of just like the experience of being there and how that race was. But tell us a little bit about the London Marathon.
So it was definitely something I was really excited about. I was feeling very prepared for the race. I actually handled that mileage very well. The taper, as I was dropping down my mileage, went very well. I honestly thought, and even like to this day, that I was ready for a strong race. Like I thought minimum sub 220 with an outside shot of sub 218. And that was my plan going into the race. Everything like traveling there, I really thought I was ready to make it happen, but unfortunately, that's not how things turned out on race day, and it actually ended up being the worst marathon of my career. So I finished in, unfortunately, 2:41, and that was after going through halfway in 1:09. So I was on pace through halfway, but the wheels completely fell off around 16, 17 miles, and it was London. I think when we talked about the first time on the podcast, is that the one thing I was worried about was what the weather was going to be like with a 9:30 a.m. start. And unfortunately, it ended up being a hot one, and that I think that's where like why things were tough for me out there. So the experience itself. So we traveled there on a Wednesday. It was a Sunday race. I would say that it was a challenge getting used to the time change. It's a 5-hour difference, and one of the mistakes that I made was sleeping so much that first 2 days there, and my clock
just trying to get like readjusted.
It just wasn't working for me, and I woke up race morning and I was feeling pretty tired, but even for my PR marathon, I woke up feeling the same way. So I wasn't changing my game plan. So I headed over to the race feeling good. I was in the championship field tent, and Then we headed over to the start line. I was ready to go, and race started. I was locked into my 5:15, 5:20 pace. Through 15K, I was feeling really good. I was like, today's gonna be my day. But then the sun, it was overcast for a little bit, but then the sun started coming out, and it was pushing 65, 70 degrees. And for a marathon, that's really hot. So right around halfway, I felt this pull in my leg, or I guess you can say in the moment, I thought it was cramping. It was a very intense moment, and like I thought I was okay. I slowed down a little bit. I was running in the 5:20s, but then I was able to drop another 5:15, and I thought I was back on pace. But man, the pain just got worse and worse, and I was going 6-minute pace, 7-minute pace. I even had a few 8, 9-minute miles in there, and at that point, my race was completely over.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Tough, man.
So yeah, it was a very unfortunate the way things turned out, especially with all the hard work I put into it. But I would say I handled it pretty well. One of the main things when I crossed that finish line was I need to be a good example to my runners, like how you need to act, like the things you need to say when you have a tough race. So I thought I did a good job with that. I didn't want to give any like excuses. Like I was thankful for the healthy build up with the training, and the race didn't go well, but the training did go well, and I still view that as a success.
Yeah, for sure, man. It is crazy that something like that, like being able to run, because I know I texted you too, because I followed along with you a little bit that morning, because it was definitely the time zone was different, but I saw like your paces for a while there, but like you put so much effort into something, and it's like you only get like one shot at it, you know? Yes. And it's like it either goes great or maybe not according to plan, but yeah, man, it is crazy too. I love the 9:30 start time, dude. I feel like anywhere is that normal of any of the other like world majors?
So yes, at the world majors, it's pretty typical.
Oh, okay.
And it's mostly because of the broadcast. So you can't be like having a world major marathon on TV at 7 a.m. or you won't have any viewers.
Sure. Yeah. So. Yeah, that just feels tough because, dude, I know it's no Florida, but still, like times where I've been like out there just like running and like baking in the sun. Were they pretty good on like stations there, like keeping you guys hydrated or?
Well, this was, as far as the course support goes, yeah, they did a really good job with that. It wasn't paper cups. It was actually the small 10-ounce plastic bottles of water, which was perfect for me because this was actually the first marathon. And since I think my first marathon I've done that, I didn't have my personal bottles. So usually when you run as a professional, you get your own bottles placed on the course. I can put whatever I want in my bottles, and that's huge. So this time around, I didn't have that. So I had to carry my gels, which, you know, it's all my runners have to carry their gels, but this was one of the first times I had to do it, and just having to pin them to my shorts, that was honestly a bit annoying. And then only being able
especially if you're used to not having them. Yeah.
And then grabbing bottles on the course, like it was just water. Usually I have my sports drink, my Martin 320 that I'm drinking. So not saying that that's the reason why I cramped, but it wasn't the best setup or not what I'm used to, you could say.
Was it is that stuff not allowed at like the majors, or you know what I mean? Or well, you said some of them do allow you to do that, right?
Yeah. Just at this race, I didn't.
Just not this one.
Yes.
Got it. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's interesting, man. Where does the London? I know the time obviously wasn't like most ideal as far as like experience. Where does this one rank for you?
As far as the experience, I mean, we were there for a week and we had a great time. The city itself was great. An awesome running community. Hyde Park is tons of runners there. Definitely enjoyed that. Honestly, the only bad part was the actual race. Well, the second half of the race. So after the race, I was really trying to block out how the race went so I can enjoy the rest of the trip. So,
the trip, yeah.
Yeah. So, but the race, it's an awesome race. Like, I think it ended up being 56,000 runners that did the race.
Anybody, you didn't have any, did you know anybody there running with you or any familiar faces?
Actually, one of the other coaches that works for me ran the marathon as well.
Oh, cool.
And it ended up being a tough one for him too.
Yeah. What was the course like? Is it pretty hilly? What's the terrain like?
So when I was previewing the course before, like checking out course maps and the elevation profile, I was concerned that it wasn't completely flat. I think there was just over 500 feet of elevation gain, which it's not much, but it's not flat. It's not like a Chicago or Berlin, but I was surprised that it actually didn't feel that bad. And if I didn't know going into the race that there was 500 feet of elevation, I wouldn't have guessed it out there on the course. So. And the crowd support, that's the biggest crowd support I've ever in any marathon I've ever done, and that includes Boston, Berlin, Chicago.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw posts and like pictures and things like that. It looked like there was a ton of people out there.
Yes.
Because you go across a bridge. Is that the end of the bridge there? I don't know where it's. I've never been to London, but there's some bridge that I saw that you have to run across.
No, that I know what you're talking about. That was actually the biggest climb of the race. That
Really?
was just around, I want to say just after the halfway point, and yeah, that was a tough part of the race for me because that's when I really started like slowing down. And when you have all the crowd, they're cheering for you and you're not running the pace you want to run, I would say that's probably one of the tougher parts for me.
Yeah. Well, what is that? Is that like a feeling of just like letting them down or?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even later into the race where like I actually walked part like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times for about 30 seconds or so. And you're just walking and you have the crowds cheering for you. And then you start back jogging and they're cheering for you again. It's like,
Yeah.
It's a
But they also don't know the pain that you're going through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
So.
Yeah. Did you feel any of like, was there any of that during your training or was this just this was the first time that you felt that flare up on mile 16 or so?
This was the biggest surprise ever. Like I was not feeling this at all. I had no aches or pains going into this race or anything. Like when I started feeling it, I was like, what is this? Like, how is this happening? That's why I thought it was a cramp.
Yeah.
So
Run through it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the race itself, I mean, it's tough because I was really putting so much into this race and I was really wanting it to go well. But still at the end of the day, I'm happy with how the training went. I survived it. I didn't have any injuries to deal with. I didn't miss any runs. I still nailed some pretty big sessions. I mean, we talked about the mileage I hit, but also the individual sessions, like that 28 miler I did. Like everything lined up for me to have a great marathon. It just didn't come together on race day. So I believe that once I'm going to give this another opportunity, and I really think I'll be able to put it together. And I don't think I need to change anything. I think I can match that same training, and I think I can have a successful marathon.
For sure, man. That's actually such a great, I know we texted about it a little bit, but such a great mentality to have too. One, I think that the training that you did was super inspirational, especially for the people that like talk to me after listening to the podcast. Like that were either just trying to get their foot out the door and starting to go for a run or just getting motivated. But two, also, like you mentioned that, like the way you handle, right? Because you just never know. It's like you put in a lot of effort and you get one shot at going out there and doing the race, and it could be incredible or something could happen. And like, how do you handle that afterwards? How do you how do you act? How do you keep your composure? All of that. And I think that's cool too, the way that you like handled it post that and not giving up too. Some people would,
Yeah, I've dropped out of an international marathon before, and it's not much fun.
Yeah.
So I would say one of the other things that I would say could be a learning lesson is that I feel like I may have put too much pressure, or even, I guess you could say, hyped myself up too much for this race. Like, everyone, they saw my training. Like, I wouldn't say I was doing anything like cocky or overly confident or anything like that, but I was feeling good and I was ready, and I just felt like it was like all eyes on me. Like I need to put it together. So I'd say that was one of the tough parts is like, after the races, I feel like I let a lot of people down. Like I did all this work and everyone was pulling for me. They were really hoping, like I had like a lot of people texting me. Like it got to a point where I just put my phone down and just needed to focus on my race. And I guess I feel bad from that perspective. Like I know no one's like judging me and like they all support me, but it's like, man, I really wish I could have like proved to them I can do it.
I get that feeling, man. I feel like that's such a natural thing. I know like we texted that like shortly afterwards, but I feel like that's probably more so like an internal thing than what people are actually feeling, you know. For the most, I'd say for everybody that I know that we all know a similar group too. It's just cool to even see like that you went out there and did it, you know. That's the big thing. So many people have dreams or like say, oh, I'm going to do this someday. And like you went for it, you know, whether you hit your mark or not. But it sounds like you're going to maybe go for it again.
Yeah.
Give it another shot.
I think so. I'm going to have a busy fall here soon. But once I start working back into the running and start hitting some workouts and feeling confident again, I'm going to make a decision on my next marathon.
Yeah.
I have 3 potential options I'm looking at. I'm currently entered in the Chicago Marathon in October.
Nice.
So not sure if I'll be able to pull that off or not, but it's an option. Then the next race it's called the Marathon Project. So this is in Arizona in December. So this race is set up for just sub 220 marathon runners. So that's the only way you can get into the race, and you get all the support you need with bottles.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's set up to run fast. Like it's a 4 mile looped course. It's flat, and it's a really good opportunity to run fast. And then the last option, which I'm not sure if I want to wait that long, but Tokyo, that's an option.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Currently looking.
Have you done that one already?
No.
Okay.
No. So we're gonna see what it's like trying to get into the race, and if I can get into the race, I could totally see that being the option, because that's like,
When is that?
that's not till March. That's the only thing I don't like about it. So
next year.
But if you can get into Tokyo, you need to do Tokyo. So, 'cause, like, getting into the lottery is pretty much impossible. You know, I am towards the end of my, I guess, peak career, you could say. So if I'm gonna like want to run it as an elite runner, I'm gonna need to do it soon. So yeah.
Cool options though, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
The two, like the world marathons though too, like those are cool ones to hear too. Cause there's one other one that you haven't done, right? There's Australia.
No, there's New York.
New York. Oh, that's right. Yeah. We talked about
Australia
that one.
too.
Yeah.
Well, they just added the Sydney Marathon. So yeah, so there's 3 I haven't done.
Yeah. The New York one though, I think that was like the tough one, right? I don't know if it's tough, but just like.
No, you're right. It's tough, and it's the one that I don't want to do. I just, I mean, it's an awesome race, great crowd support. They bring in some like really like legit runners. They have like check all the boxes, but it's the course. Like, it's really hard to run fast there. And when I go to a marathon,
You're kind of weaving a lot, right? Like throughout the city, or?
Oh, it goes through the 5 boroughs. So it's you go through all the bridges, which got a lot of elevation, and it's a tough course. So like, I don't want to train real hard, be ready to, be at peak fitness, and knowing I'm not going to be able to run to my potential because it's a hilly course.
That, yeah.
So I don't want to push anyone away from it. I have runners that are doing it every year. They love it. I have runners that do it every year, and there's a reason why they're doing it. It's just,
yeah.
And for me personally, just me, it's going to be more of an experience type thing.
For sure. Yeah. To say you did it. Yeah. I want to do, I know it's hard to get in that. I'm just like early in, I feel like my running career here. Like I got the Atlanta 10K coming up here, which I'm looking forward to. Yeah. The Peachtree. I didn't realize it was as big as it is until I registered for it.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like a fun, like run in Atlanta.
Biggest 10Ks.
That's actually wild. Yeah. Cause I told my parents about it too. And they were like, oh yeah. Cause they live near there. So like they knew about it. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize this was that big of a deal. But yeah, and then I think I'd love to do like maybe like more of a local half here at some point, like Space Coast, or, I know, like obviously Gasparilla, and because you've done a Gasparilla before, right? Or
I've done Gasparilla a lot. I believe I'm a 5 or 6 time winner of Gasparilla.
There you go, dude. Yeah, but I've heard it can get like obviously it's Florida, and anytime the sun comes out, it can get pretty toasty out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but for you, and I guess anyone who's listening that I guess could take this advice. You're following the right path on. You're starting with a 10K at Peachtree, and then you're saying you want to move up to the half marathon distance. That's that next step up, and then you run that half marathon. Say you have a successful race. You never know. Maybe you're ready to give the marathon a shot later in the year.
I'm excited about it, dude. Like I've telling my wife that lately. Like I'm really into it, but I don't want to like rush myself. Like I feel myself getting better. Like I did, and I know you saw that too. Like I did 9 miles the other day, and it was like it was the best feeling of a long run that I've ever had. And so like I feel myself getting better at it. So yeah, just taking my time with it.
Yeah, I think, we have been texting, you are training, you're building up your mileage and your long runs. And the one thing that we're having to manage and deal with now that, it's the spring and the temps are starting to crease is the heat. So, the one thing I believe you started working on is your hydration and, making sure you're fueled properly. And look at you, you had yourself a strong run.
Dude, yeah, that actually, I think, I don't know if I texted you that or not, but that run in particular, I bought these 2 like little running bottles, and they're kind of cheap. They're probably not the best thing out there, but I just put them on the hood of my car and I did Hollingsworth. And every time I'd lap, I just grab a new one. Yep. And oh my God, dude, it changed the game for me. Almost better than, like I had some like little, like a gel packet, but just getting replenished with water, I felt like a whole new, like I felt like I was starting over, like fresh, could do the whole lake again easily,
Yes. Now that it's hotter, I mean, it's starting to get hotter everywhere, even up north. Hydration, electrolytes, it needs to become the main focus. Recently with my runners, I started having them do what I call a sweat test, just so they can see how much fluid loss is happening for them, and they're really surprising themselves. So pretty much what you do is, for one of your regular easy recovery runs, you weigh yourself before the run, no clothing or shoes, preferably, just so you can get more accurate measurements. And then you do your run and don't hydrate during it. And then after the run, dry yourself off and then reweigh yourself and see how much weight you've lost. It's most of the time what I'm seeing is like 2, 3, 4 pounds. But what you want to do is you want to hydrate to your run 75% of the fluid loss. So if you've lost, let's see, 3 pounds of sweat, which I believe is 48 ounces, you need to be consuming 36 ounces. So
yeah, dude, I know for a fact, I didn't realize till after that run, like how important it was for me, or just how much fluids I was losing. I know I sweat a lot when I run. I still need to do that test. I don't have a scale. I always just kind of like measure, like I always like get on the scale at Publix, but I can't do all of those rules there. I'll get kicked out of Publix and might get arrested.
But you actually have a great setup with your long runs. It's what I do for myself and what I recommend for my runners. So like, find yourself a 3-4 mile loop and have your bottles out. I like Hollingsworth. That's one of the reasons why it's such a great place to run. Just place your bottles out on the hood of your car or trunk of your car, and each time you loop around, you can just grab it. You don't even have to stop. There's trash cans along the lake. You can just ditch your bottle in. So that's what I think the best setup. So if you're out there struggling during your long runs, find yourself a 3-4 mile loop.
Yeah. And that actually leads us into perfect, because I know we were going to talk about some of these summer runs coming up. Like I know are you doing the watermelon 5Ks here in Lakeland? I'm
personally not, but I'm going to have some big groups doing it.
Yeah, but you have a lot of your runners doing it.
Yes.
It's soon, right? I'm going to do it, but I know it's like is it in 2 weeks, the first one?
Yeah, so
June from this episode, yeah.
June 14th, July 12th, and August 9th. So it's a 3-race series. They do the scoring based off of all 3 races.
Yeah. That's a lot of fun. They've been doing that for a long time, haven't they?
I want to say around 1990, give or take. So yeah, they've been doing it for a really long time. I've done it in the past like 10 or 12 times. It's tough racing a 5K during the summer, but it's really our only option. And I've personally stopped doing the watermelon series, not because I don't want to, but just I need to focus on my runners that are there. So last year, for example, I want to say I had about 25, 30 runners at each race. And it's awesome watching my runners in their Runnersfix gear. It's kind of like we own the race.
That's cool. Yeah, dude. I did the 5K recently, the Mayfair. And I saw a couple of the Runnersfix. Man, I know I saw you guys towards the end there too, but some of those guys. What's the guy's name? Dude, he's a legend. I think we talked about him last time.
David
or maybe
Crabtree.
Is that it? Yes. Yeah. You know who talked about it? It was me and John Vasquez. We talked about him on our pod. I was like, I see him out there just chipping away all the time at Lake Hollingsworth.
Yeah, David Crabtree, he just turned 70 this, I think in March, and he's a long time runner. Well, he qualified for Boston in 1984.
Yeah.
That's such a long time ago. And he stopped running, I want to say, for 20 or 30 years. And then he got back into it. I saw him at the lake. He was out there walking, and he just approached me one day and saying that I inspire him, were his words, and he wants to get back to it. So we got him going again. And just in December, he qualified for Boston again.
Let's go.
I think it was 40 years between qualifying for Boston, which
that's crazy.
That's so awesome to me. And he's definitely a role model to me. He loves running. He's such a nice guy. Like, if you see him at the lake, he's going to be very approachable. And I was going to say, out of all the runners in the community, like, he's the one that everyone, I guess you can say, like, recognizes or is like, yeah.
Well, dude, I just always see him like out there chipping away at Hollingsworth. And the thing I see when I see him, I'm like, dude, I know, because I know this. I've seen him like running at a very moderate pace, and then I saw him at the 5K, and I was like, okay, like that's what he's got in him, you know, like he can hold it back on like his longer runs or stuff, but he can. Did he win Mayfair, or did he get?
He crushed his age group. He's 70 now, so it's not even fair anymore.
Okay, so he's always crushing his age group. Yeah.
So he's gonna run Boston next year, and he's really excited about it. And I honestly could not be more proud of him. So,
that's cool, man. Yeah. I need to meet him. Maybe have him on the pod, talk about that. That'd be fun. So I'm excited for the like the watermelon 5Ks. I do find like now that I'm getting more into it, I definitely prefer, there's something about it. Like I really enjoy the longer runs. Like I kind of prefer that over the shorters. Like I love like knowing, okay, I'm going to be out here for a while, like get my setup going and just kind of either if I'm listening to a podcast or just listening to nothing, like kind of get in my headspace and go, you know?
Yeah. I guess you're still new to the sport, so you're finding out what type of runner you are. So you have runners that are, they favor the 5K distance, the short, fast stuff. And then you have the ones that are all about the long runs and the mileage. And usually those are the ones that are good at the marathon. So, you have everything in between. I would say most runners that I work with, they're more speed-based. And they struggle with, trying to get their mileage in and have a successful marathon. So that's just what I see the most.
Yeah. Often. No, I do love it. I see this because I wanted to get your opinion on these because I've seen these popping up more and more. Like these crazy long distance. I feel like most of them are like the like trail running kind of stuff. Like there's one that was a 250-mile race. What's it called, dude? I'm gonna look it up because this is like maybe you've heard of this or not. Does that ring a bell at all? Like there's some sort of like 250-mile race out there.
So with ultra running, it's anything over a marathon typically starts at 50K. And I've seen races up to 300 miles, which is insane to me. But I would say most typical ultra races are the 50-mile distance, the 100K distance, and then the 100-mile distance. In my opinion, the most, I guess you say, brutal ultra race there is Leadville.
I've heard of that.
10 or 15,000 feet of elevation gain, and at one point,
is that near Colorado or?
Yeah, it's in Colorado, and at one point in the race, you're up at 12,000 feet of altitude. I actually have a runner training for it right now, and it's crazy. It's a brutal course, and like that race is a completion type course.
The one it's called Cocodona.
Oh
it's like 250. Like there's a guy's book, Cam Haynes, that I just finished, and he, I guess, ran it. But, like, that's crazy. There's part of me where I'm like, I know I'm nowhere near that. But, like, five years or so down the road, I'm like, dude, that does sound a little bit fun to me, Like, just conquering something that feels impossible, Just a crazy distance.
Yeah, I would say I see time to time with my runners, they're working up in distance, they've done their half marathon, they've now done a marathon, they've done a few marathons, and they're not getting that same joy from it, that same challenge, and they want to step it up and see what they can do at the longer distances. And most of the time, with the ultra, it's more of like can I complete the distance? So there's, with my runners, usually it's let's start with a 50-mile race, and some of them will step up to 100 miles. And I will say most of the time, well, not most of the time, maybe half the time, like they're not completing the race. Like it takes them multiple attempts, and even my more experienced runner, like I have a local runner here named Cole, and he's a 240 marathon runner. He's a legit runner, and I've seen him run the Keys 100 miler. I think it's in May down in Key West, and man, it's a flat course. It looks,
in May?
Yeah, in Key West. Think about that. So, and it's the heat.
Yeah.
The heat just crushes him. And he's had some strong 100-mile races, but he's had some tough ones.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard that it's like, it's different than like maybe like a half or a marathon, where even if you don't do great, you could jog or walk your way into the finish line.
Yeah.
Like the 100-milers are like, a lot of people don't finish it their first time around.
Yes, that's true. And to be successful at these, let's just say the 100-mile distance, your marathon time really doesn't mean too much. I mean, yeah, it's going to help. Like, maybe it's like, okay, I should be decent at this. But some of the best ultra marathons in the world are not that good at the marathon. So.
Yeah. It's like, how do you pace out that energy for like such a long period of time?
It's all survival.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. But do you ever see yourself doing something like that, or like a 50 or so?
So the 50-mile distance is something that has had my interest for a while. I think that's the furthest I would go, and it's not from the success I've had from the marathon itself, but from the training. Just the type of mileage I've been able to put in the long runs, like the 28-mile long run I did during marathon training. Like I ran that at 5:44 pace, which the world record for 50 miles is 5:46 pace. So it's like, what's another, like 22 miles? Like, could I do that? Like, I feel like
that could be a fun project.
So, but it's just committing to it, and I view myself as a true marathon runner, and I would rather give the marathon another shot than take that risk.
Yeah, I get that. For sure, do that first. It's just interesting to me. Like, I feel like I'm that kind of person that there's those interesting things where it's like, man, could I accomplish this? Like, that's what I think I like about thinking about some of the longer distance. I have a group of friends who I am not doing this mostly because I've got kids and a wife, and I can't imagine just telling them I'm not seeing them for a weekend. But there's this like David Goggins thing that's the 4x4x48. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, the 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. Just sounds awful to me.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. There's a lot of challenges like that. There's the backyard challenge. I want to say.
What is that?
It's called like the Backyard Ultra Challenge, where it's instead of every 4 hours, you're running like, I want to say it's like 2 or 3 or 4 miles every hour. You have to start on the hour, and you go for as long as you can. So it could be you're going for 12 hours. You could be attempted like a couple days, but it's just seeing how far you can go or how long you can go.
Sheesh. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's crazy stuff out there, dude. I mean, people are also just like crazy. Like I saw that there was that guy that did you see that? The guy that finished the Boston Marathon in jeans?
Yeah.
Like
I have a lot of opinions of that, but
yeah, just people doing like crazy stuff like that, man. I think he's like a crazy athlete too, but I think it was kind of a promotional deal. I don't know much. Yeah.
I think there's a lot more to it than that. If you saw his time and you actually saw him.
Yeah. He probably could have done it in faster. Yeah. Dude, well, that's cool, man. Well, thanks for stopping by again and like kind of catching us up, dude. It's cool to see. Like, I think the biggest, just encouragement from, how you're training for the London and then doing it, not hitting the time that you wanted to, but not letting that defeat you and kind of continuing going is such an inspiration for people out there that, sometimes like doing something big like that, especially on what feels like a world stage, like can crush you and make you want to quit. But kind of pushing through that is such a great like quality to have,
I appreciate that. And yeah, it was definitely a focus of mine, crossing that finish line and just feeling defeated. And I remember I was, getting my Strava post ready, and I'm like, all right, no excuses, be positive.
Yeah.
You need to be a good example for yourself, all your runners. And I feel like I did a good job with that. And I hope my runners view that as well, view it like that as well. So
Yeah.
I am definitely going to be giving it another shot. Like, I don't want to say I'm just going to give up and not try again. So the time will come. I'm currently bouncing back from this injury. And once I'm healthy, fully healthy, I'm going to try to jump into some speed work this summer, maybe race a couple 5Ks, because it's something I've neglected for a long time. Like, during marathon training, I built up my mileage. Like, I built up that really strong aerobic base. But I think the one thing I could be working on is my speed. So that's what I'm going to work on this summer. And then I'm going to make the transition to the marathon once I've picked out my marathon. And still not sure out of the 3 choices.
Some great options though.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, with one more minute, dude, I want to kind of lay out the red carpet for you as well. Like, what are, just reminding some people the ways that they can get connected to Runnersfix Coaching. Obviously follow you on Strava, follow like what your journey is there, but what's your guys' website and like socials and everything like that again?
So
social medias. Tell us like your social security.
So runnersfixcoaching.com. That's the website with all the information you need on there. You can fill out the questionnaire if you're interested in coaching. I have 4 other coaches that work for me now. So they're all really good coaches, and I may like a lot of runners when they fill out the questionnaire, like they want me as their coach, but I may not be their best choice. Like I have a female coach, Haley. She's awesome. She mostly works with female runners, and if you're wanting that female to female like perspective, like she's going to be the way to go. And
that's awesome. Yeah.
So I would recommend her. I also have my coach, Steve Chu in Colorado, very knowledgeable. I would say I learned a lot from him. Like, the knowledge that I've gained was because of him. Even with my training was because of him. He showed me what high mileage was. It's
cool.
So then I have Matt Carl from Tampa. He's a really good guy. He's got a lot of experience in the marathon game. He's done the world majors. He's the one that does New York a lot. Very popular on social media as well. And then I have a recent hire, Jonathan Huzzelbus from Jacksonville. He's a lifelong runner, ran at University of Florida. He's running 1440s for 5K. Very nice guy, very easy to communicate with and relate to. He's definitely someone that I like to push the runners trying to break sub 3. I think he's perfect for those type of runners. So, and business has been going very well lately, and I think there's a chance we might be taking on another coach. Like,
that's awesome, man.
I want to respect the runners that I work with now, so I don't want to be overloading myself. For
sure, yeah. Well, dude, I've enjoyed it enough since I've started, man. The scheduling has pushed me. Like, your encouragement, your advice there too, like led to me having such a great like long run the other day. And I highly recommend it. Like, I highly recommend you guys, people reaching out, like filling out and just giving it a test out and things like that. But
then, sorry to cut you off.
No, yeah, go.
And then the social media platforms, Instagram, which has been way more, we're on Facebook too, but Instagram has been way more popular lately. We've been doing a great job with our posting. Definitely give us a follow on there, and you can see how our runners are doing. You get some informative tips with the training. That. And yeah, the business, it has been great lately. And one of the things that we're working on is trying to make a bigger name for ourselves. We want to be known everywhere. We want to be up there as one of the top coaching businesses. And since from where we started to where we are now, I mean, I would say we're on our way.
That's awesome, man. And I agree. Like, I cannot recommend you guys enough, especially for people out there. Like, we've talked about this before, whether you want to be the long distance or just kind of getting back in the shape or whatever. I think it's great, man. I've fully enjoyed it.
Definitely.
Dude, cool. Well, thanks for being on the show again, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah.